If you're a parent or you've ever loved a child so deeply their laughter lived in your heart, this is the kind of story that sticks to your ribs, because sometimes the people we trust the most carry shadows we never thought to look for. My name is Caleb Johnson, and for over a decade, I drove 18-wheelers across the country, long stretches of road, diesel humming beneath me, and nothing but miles between me and home. My heart stayed back in Augusta, Georgia, with my wife Monica and our son Jordan. My pride, my heartbeat, my little man who used to sprint toward me every time I pulled into the driveway. But the day everything changed, he didn't run, he didn't smile, he didn't even look at me. He just gave me a quiet hug, eyes dull and bruised by sleep he clearly hadn't been getting. "Hey, buddy," I whispered, ruffling his curls the way I always did. "Hey, Dad," he mumbled, but he wouldn't meet my eyes. Some of you know this feeling. That cold, sinking weight in your gut when something about your child feels wrong, but you can't explain it. Call it instinct. Call it spiritual alarm bells. Whatever it is, it grabbed me by the throat that day, and it wouldn't let go. If you're hearing my voice right now, I need you to know something. People don't end up on videos like this by accident. We find stories that match the scars we don't talk about. So if anything in my words feels familiar, don't walk away from that. Hit subscribe and stay close. Not for me, for you. Because some stories help you breathe easier just knowing someone else lived through the same storm. Before we dive in, tell me this. Have you ever lived through something you couldn't explain? Something so real it still sits in your chest? If you have, you're exactly where you're supposed to be. Dinner that night tasted like worry. Jordan sat quietly, eating slow, barely lifting his head. Every time he shifted, he flinched. Not from pain, but from fear. Fear of making noise. Fear of being noticed. Fear of his mother. Monica chatted like nothing was wrong, laughing, telling me about the neighbors, about a sale she found at the grocery store. All the while, Jordan kept shooting terrified glances at her like a ghost was sitting at the table. And that's when I saw them, the dark circles beneath his eyes. Deep, heavy, like he hadn't slept in weeks. "Everything okay at school?" I asked gently. He nodded without looking up. "Fine. What about your friend Kevin? He's still coming over?" Monica's fork paused halfway to her mouth. Jordan swallowed so hard I heard it. "No, not really." Something in that pause, that tiny fragile second, tightened around my chest like a fist. When I tucked Jordan in that night, he held my hand tighter than usual. "Dad, don't tell Mom we talked, okay?" His voice was barely a whisper. "About what, son?" Before he could answer, Monica appeared in the doorway. "Time for bed." Jordan flinched, a full-body, silent flinch. And in that split second I knew, without knowing anything for sure, that something was horribly, terrifyingly wrong. I lay awake that night listening to the house breathe, trying to make sense of everything. At some point I rolled over and reached for Monica, but she wasn't there. And then I saw it, a thin line of dim light under Jordan's door. The door cracked open, Monica inside. For 30 minutes, she didn't see me in the hallway, and when she finally came out, she said, "He had a nightmare." I was calming him down. But Jordan didn't look calmed. He looked hollow. This wasn't motherhood. This was something else, something darker, something hidden, something I was going to expose, no matter what it cost me. The next morning, when they left for school, I tore through Jordan's room, not searching for toys, not searching for notes, searching for truth. That's when I found the teddy bear I gave him years ago, the one he used to carry everywhere, now torn, stuffing hanging out, stained with dried tears. I felt like I couldn't breathe. That same afternoon, I drove downtown and bought a micro camera, tiny enough to hide, strong enough to show me what my son couldn't say out loud. "Home security?" the clerk asked. I swallowed hard. "Yeah, something like that." I hid the camera between Jordan's toys, angled perfectly toward the bed. It made my hands shake. It made me feel like a traitor. But a father listens to instinct even when the truth hurts, especially when it hurts. That night I pretended to sleep. At 11:13 p.m., Monica slipped out of our bed again, I opened my phone, started the feed, and what I saw destroyed something inside me. Monica walked into Jordan's room with a calmness that made my skin crawl. "Mom, please," Jordan whispered. "I was good today." "You talk too much," she said flatly, "especially to your father." And then she pulled masking tape out of her robe. I dropped my phone. My knees actually buckled. On the screen, she pressed the tape across my son's mouth. His small body trembled. "Cry quietly," she whispered. "You know the rules." And then she hit him. Not a spanking, not discipline. Violence, a slipper. Hard soul, repeated blows. My boy's shoulders shook with silent sobs. He couldn't scream. He couldn't call for help. He couldn't breathe. And the worst part? His eyes didn't just show pain. They showed acceptance. As if this was normal. As if he expected it. I wanted to burst into the room. I wanted to throw walls apart. I wanted to end it. But I knew I needed proof to save him permanently. So I held the phone and recorded and died inside. The next morning, while Monica took Jordan to school, I copied the footage onto a flash drive, then uploaded it to cloud storage, then backed it up again. I wasn't losing this evidence. Later that night, on the road for another trip, I checked the camera again. She was back, new tape, new blows, new tears, and that was it. I grabbed my phone and dialed the only person I trusted, Tyrell Ellington, Monica's brother, the one man who never lost his soul. "Tyrell, I need you to get Jordan out of the house right now." "What happened?" "I can't explain yet. Please, just go." 25 agonizing minutes later, Tyrell called back. "Caleb, I have him." I broke down in my truck, like a grown man shouldn't, like a father does when he finally grabs his son out of hell. When I made it to Tyrell's house the next day, Jordan saw me and ran straight into my arms. He cried into my shirt, trembling, begging me not to let him go back. My son, my little superhero, had been living in terror every night while I was out chasing Miles. I held him tight, knowing this was the moment everything changed. Later, when he finally talked, his words shattered me. "She said no one would believe me, Dad. She said if I told you, it would get worse. And then, I thought maybe I deserved it. No child should ever believe that. Ever." I marched into the sheriff's office with every video, every screenshot, every second of truth. Detective Mariah Fields watched the footage, jaw tight, eyes burning. "Mr. Johnson, this is child abuse of the highest severity. We're filing immediately." Within hours, a protective order. Temporary full custody granted. Monica barred from contact. Court officer Bradley Hayes served her the papers. She screamed. She denied everything. She blamed me. But the law didn't blink. When she tried to fight it in court, Judge Evelyn Carter reviewed the footage and shook her head slowly, heartbreak turning into righteous fury. "Mrs. Johnson, you have forfeited your right to motherhood. Custody remains with Mr. Johnson." Justice didn't whisper. It roared. For weeks, Jordan slept with the lights on. Then one night, he didn't. For months, he cried when someone shut a door too loud. Then slowly, he didn't. Dr. Alina Ramirez, the child psychologist who walked him through the storm, told me, "He's healing because he feels safe with you. Children bloom when someone finally listens." I quit long-haul trucking, took a regional logistics job, became the kind of father who's home every night. The kind of father my son always needed me to be. And Jordan? He joined the soccer team, made new friends, started laughing again. Real laughs, loud ones, the kind that light up a house, the kind of laugh I hadn't heard in years. 2 years later, Monica Johnson was found guilty of child abuse and sentenced to mandatory psychiatric treatment, community service, and permanent loss of custody. She asked for supervised visitation. Judge Carter said, "Only if Jordan wants it." He didn't. Not then. Maybe not ever. And that was okay. Healing comes when the child chooses the pace. Today, my son is 10, stronger than he knows, braver than most adults, and free, finally free, from the shadows of that house. We live in a small home with a yard and a vegetable patch we planted together. He smiles now. He sleeps through the night now. He tells me jokes that don't make sense but crack him up anyway. And I thank God every day that I listen to that first whisper in my gut, something is wrong. Because that whisper saved my son's life. And if you're watching this, maybe it's whispering to you too. If this story grabbed you, if you've ever felt that cold, quiet fear as a parent, or if you know a child who has changed in ways that don't make sense, listen, children don't always know how to say, help me. Sometimes they say it with silence, sometimes with dark circles, sometimes with fear of the person who should love them the most. Trust your instincts. I did, and it saved my son.